about sushi. Welcome back to the Real Food Test Kitchen. This is a California roll-ish. Pure California roll has avocado, cucumber, and crab meat. I just happened to add raw mushrooms one day. It adds a creaminess that you wouldn't expect without any mushroom flavor, so it's a go-to for me in my kitchen. You can add whatever you want, whatever works for you. That's the beauty of making things at home. You spice it up how you want to. If you practice, you can get it. This wasn't my first time making it, so I've made some where they fell apart. I've learned things like put the sticky stuff on top so that when you roll it over, it stays there. If you put like cucumbers on top, they'll just fall over. The roll might be ugly, but if you're just eating it for yourself, who cares? It still tastes good. If you're making it for a restaurant, you may want some further training than this video. Just experiment. You might stumble upon something you didn't know you liked. So first you're going to start with the rice, and you want to rinse it really well. The goal is to get as much of the starch off as possible so that when you cook it, it cooks into individual grains and is not clumpy. You want to do it 3 times so that on the 3rd time the water is clear. As you can see, it's still a little cloudy. After the 3rd time, you can strain it in a fine mesh colander and give it one final rinse. I'm the rice in my rice cooker, and I'm going to let it cook for 40 minutes. This is just 1 serving, so I'm filling it up to the 1 line, and you could also cook this on the stove. Starting with the cucumber, you can peel it if you want, that's optional. If you don't, make sure the skin is clean. And I'm just going to cut a small piece off. Even this much will be more than I'm going to use for 2 rolls, so you don't need too much cucumber. Next is avocado. I'm just going to cut it down the center and remove the pit. You can use a knife to do this, I just used my fingernail. Now I'm going to cut it into thin strips and remove it from the skin. I'm using a butter knife so I don't cut myself. Here are my mushrooms. You want to get all the dirt off, and I do that by using a damp towel to wipe off the dirt. You don't want to run it under water or it will get soggy. Then dry it off with a dry towel and it's good to go. I'm going to remove the stem, that's optional. Then I'm going to cut it in half and then cut it into strips. Here's my rice, fresh from the rice cooker. Looks pretty good. I'm going to move it to a plate or any flat surface will do. And that is so I can add the sushi dressing or the vinegar, sugar, salt mixture. In total, I'll use about a 1/4 cup. This is for 2 rolls of sushi. The goal is to coat every piece of rice. You want it to have a nice sheen, you want it to be shiny, but you don't want there to be extra liquid at the bottom. You want it to stick together nicely. So here's what it looks like. As you can see, each grain of rice is coated, it's sticky, but it's not too wet. Put the seaweed sheet bumpy side up, and you're gonna cover it in your sushi rice. I used about half of what I made. Don't put anything on the top inch because that's where the seams are going to connect and seal it together. Now you can put whatever you want. This is crab meat, and like I said in the intro, I put the sticky stuff near the top so that when I turn it over, it sticks. The carrots, the cucumbers, they kind of go towards the bottom. The more fillings you add, the thicker the roll will be. To start rolling, press and fold and kind of move your thumbs along. If some pieces fall out, just let them go. And you kind of want to bend it over itself to a point where you can just use the seaweed rather than using the bamboo mat. Once you're at this point, you want to squeeze it so it's nice and tight, nothing's too loose, and tuck it as you go. Make sure the corners are being tucked and it's all being evenly distributed. Now I'm going to seal the edges with water. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but I find that it works fine. And if you can see the other sushi roll I made over to the side, it's been sitting on the seam for at least 2 minutes. You want to do that just so it marries together and is one seamless piece of seaweed. So now I'm going to set it over by the other one and let it rest. So a couple minutes later, just long enough to clean up my kitchen, I'm going to cut them. As you can see, I'm using a sawing motion. You want a sharp knife for this. This is the sharpest knife I have. And it helps to use a wet blade. You can run it under the sink water every other slice. You don't want to use too much pressure because you don't want to squish it. Move it so it's out of your way to cut the rest. As you'll see on this one, I didn't cut the second piece fully and I just decided to rip it. That's a bad move. It's better to just use your knife, otherwise it'll be kind of ugly and fall apart when you go to eat it. And the ends are usually pretty ugly as well. I don't even bother serving those, I just eat them as a snack. There's the final product. That's what I got out of 2 rolls. The only thing left to do is serve it and eat it. Get whatever you usually eat your sushi with and enjoy it. As you saw, I served mine with coconut aminos, which is a substitute for soy sauce. It's from coconut sap and it's sweeter. It's definitely not soy sauce. It's got way less salt. The buzzword for sushi and Asian dishes is umami, so you want that nice flavor. Also, what I served beside it was homemade pickled ginger, which I'll have a recipe for later. As I've said in other videos, there's so many ways to change this up. If you don't like carrots, don't have carrots. If you like, I don't know, onion, no, that's a strange one. If you like onion, put it in there. I don't care, I'm not eating it. It's up to you. The whole point of making sushi at home is to make it how you want it. You can use different grains. Rice is just one. You can use quinoa, you can use whatever you use. So that's it. That's all I have to say about sushi. Comment something interesting you would have in sushi or something you've had before that really worked. I'm interested to find out. If you have any suggestions, things you want to see in future videos, things I can improve on, let me know. This is an experimental kitchen. We're here to change it up, so your feedback is always appreciated. Until next time, take care of yourself and eat some real food. That is so cheesy. Until next video, bye.